Hello and welcome back to the Summoner's Guide to Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to play the last of the 24-player raids in the 2.x series. And that is the World of Darkness. Now, for the classic Final Fantasy fans out there, you should know already that the entire Crystal Tower series is kind of a love letter to Final Fantasy III. And this dungeon is no exception. It's definitely the most challenging of the three 24-player dungeons in the 2.x series. And it's one that'll still give some parties trouble, so we're going to see how this goes. Alright, so for this first trash pull... Why didn't I summon my pet? Most of the time anymore, the tanks will pull them together, but they're going to cast separate AoEs that cover almost the entire room. Oh, good. I should not... See, that's the reason why you probably don't want to do that. Because they use the Dragon's Voice, which paralyzes, and the Ram's Voice, which freezes. But you definitely want to be out of those big old deep red AoEs. So that's why at first everybody was tanking them separately and then running to wherever the safe spot was, because these guys are chimeras. Just like every other chimera you faced, the Ram's Voice affects everybody at point blank. The Dragon's Voice affects everybody except point blank. But as you can see, even by completely boffing up the mechanics, you can still manage to live through it. Almost done with this trash pull. Alright, so we're at the first boss, and this really is kind of the gateway to the rest of the instance. This is the boss that will kill most parties. So, as a caster, what are you going to do? You're going to get immediately to its left or right and pray that the tank doesn't move around too much and rotate the boss. And the reason why you're going to be immediately to its left or right is because of the attack Double Vision. You'll cover half the arena in white and half the arena in red. It really doesn't matter which one you're standing in the first time he casts it. The second time he casts it, you're going to want to get into the opposite color of the one you were in the first time. So I stood in red, so next time I need to stand in white. Now he'll use attacks level 100 Flare and like level 150 Death. And those really, those will affect anybody standing within the range of the attacks, which is usually going to be relatively point blank. As a caster, I never have to deal with them. If you aren't a caster and you're in melee range, just get out of the circles, basically. When these hourglasses show up, you'll see kind of a roulette wheel thing going on around the outside. Try to stand near the border to the regions and kill the final hourglasses. When the last hourglass is down, whatever region is lit is the region that's going to fill up with the AoE and will kill anybody in that part of the arena. If you don't kill the hourglasses in time, it will just stop and pretty much instantly cast that ability. Ooh, I need to get into white. So don't let the hourglasses run out. It's probably going to ruin you. Alright, so, as always, stay on the side. Okay, level 150 death. You see the circle there? Basically, it will tether 3 people together within the circle to make a total of level 150 and kill all 3 of them. So, the moral of the story is, don't be in the circle. And again, as a caster, I've never had the circle come out to this edge of the arena. So, this is a wonderful place to stand. Moral gaze, turn around. Alright. If you are looking at him when moral gaze goes off, you'll be inflicted with doom. Now, if you are inflicted with doom, it's not the end of the world. Just stand on one of those glowing pads that appear throughout the arena and it'll be cleansed. Otherwise, you will die. But the best way to deal with moral gaze is to not get hit by it. And the best way to not get hit by it is to just turn around. We're going to be seeing the next second set of hourglasses show up before long. Alright, I was in white last, so now I'm in red. Basically, the damage increases for every successive time you stand in the same color. So you just don't want to be standing in the same color more than once, really. You can survive a second hit, you probably won't survive a third. Now at some point in here he might cast Moral Gaze, so watch the enmity bars. And when he casts Moral Gaze, turn away. Alright, so get out of that quadrant if you're in it. Res our healer. Our healer needs a res. Alright, I'm going to get into white, but it's probably not going to be an issue. He's about to die. Alright, I am glad. This is a good group because we handled that boss exactly the way it should be handled. That is a boss that can give you problems. Even now, so long after it was released, if you screw up the mechanics in that fight, it's gonna kill you. So Queen Scylla, you'll remember from the Circus Tower, this is not actually a boss, this is it's a trash hole. 3 forbidden gates will show up. You want to kill them as quickly as possible, because they're going to spawn ads if they get their Void Call attack off. So the more gates you take down, the less ads you have to deal with. When the ads come out, there'll be Thor ads, there'll be other ads that show up later on, and even more gates open up. Once you kill the Queen Scylla ad, because it's nothing more than an ad at this point, and all the Thors, a chest will appear. It's a fake chest. Once it's opened, Xanda's clone will appear, as well as a new set of gates. And that was a clever use of the limit break. They took out 2 of the gates. Are we going to get all the gates out? No, we're not. We're stuck with 1 Thor. That is about the best I've ever seen the gates handled. I don't know if I've ever actually seen all of the gates taken down. It's certainly possible, but it's very difficult. I may have seen it once or twice, but I don't have any specific memories of it. Anyhow, once all the ads and Xanda's clone are down, it's off to the second boss, which is the five-headed dragon. Now, the five-headed dragon has a lot of mechanics into it, and fair warning, I may miss one or two. But I'm going to try to explain all of them as they come. Now, the tank should, and yet looks like he's going to, try to tank it into the back wall, which gives the rest of the players a... Excuse me. Gives the rest of the players a lot of arena to work with. Which you're going to need a lot of arena to work with in this fight. Alright, so he's going to start basically flailing about with two of the heads, and it's going to determine the attacks that he uses. Alright. And obviously stay out of any AoE markers you get. If you are if you're tethered to that that little winged dragon thing, it's gonna do damage over time. Let it tick for a couple times, then run the tether into another player and transfer the tether to that player. You're basically gonna be playing hot potato with that tether. Okay, when Discordance is used, you're going to want to immediately start targeting the heads. All the heads will become targetable, and you need to start taking them down one by one to weaken the Discordance attack. And it'll reset, the Discordance attack will reset every time a head is destroyed. But if you destroy all 5 of them, the Discordance attack will be at its weakest, and you'll survive the encounter. We may not actually see all the mechanics, to be honest. Alright, whenever the Prominence ads show up, kill them. Usually this will occur in conjunction with a couple of poison puddles. If there's a poison puddle on the floor, one player needs to be standing in the poison puddle. That will prevent poison ads from showing up. If too many poison ads show up, one of them will show up that will actually silence the raid. That makes it impossible to heal. So you don't want that to happen. So it's better that one person take some poison damage, even if it's you, weak and pathetic caster, than for the party to be silenced. Alright, those circle AoEs are gonna put up an ice field. The ice field will grow twice. So don't be anywhere near them. And there was an attack there that knocked a bunch of people up into the air. There's gonna be a mark that's gonna indicate that's gonna happen. That's really probably all the mechanics you're going to see in this fight. Again, because there are so many and they don't always affect every player, it's hard for me to explain everything that's going to happen here. And we're probably not going to see... I don't even remember what the attack is called. I'll know it if I see it. Alright, I'm going to stay out of range here. There we go. Yeah, we're not going to see it. So I'm not even going to be able to remember what the attack is called. But basically there's an attack where he'll basically inflict the arena with a overheat debuff. And if you... basically, if you move, or if you attack, or if you use any sort of ability while you're underneath that, I think it's like Pyretic or something like that, while you're underneath that condition, you'll take damage. So basically, your objective at that point is either to stop moving, or just hope your healers are aware of it and are going to heal through it. I usually just stop moving to give the healers a break. It only lasts for a few seconds. Alright, I'm Alliance A. Alright, this is going to be another Atamos fight. This is going to be a little different than the last one. We're going to be standing on a platform, and there's a lower level you could potentially get yourself knocked down to. If you get marked, try to get away from the party. You're going to get sucked up, and then spit out. Get onto a platform. Oh, shockwave, get into the middle. If you ever see a glowing platform on your upper platform, stand on it to make sure that the other parties have a way to get back up to their platform. If any party is ever completely knocked off of their platform, it's a wipe. Well, no, actually, I'm not sure that that's true, but if you get to the point where everybody's knocked off and nobody can get back up, then it's a wipe. So always stand on your platforms as much as you can. Now, every time you kill one of these Atomos, it's actually going to take energy away from the Atomos Prime. Once enough of these Atomos ads are killed, Atomos Prime goes down, and all of a sudden you are able to proceed to the third boss. So yeah, really what you gotta worry about, don't get sucked up by his attacks. Get in the middle when Shockwave comes on, step on the platforms on the bottom to get back up to the top, step on the platforms at the top to ensure players can get from the bottom to the top, and just keep wailing on the... Okay, we're not waiting at all. Alright. Alright, so, Cerberus. This is one of my favorite fights in the entire game. So it starts out like any other fight. Drop your dots, put on any sort of debuffs and vulnerability and whatnot, like I always forget to do. The real fun is going to begin when he breaks his chains. Like right there. Alright, he's going to use two attacks we're going to want to worry about here. First off, look at the player he's got marked. He's going to drop kind of an ad around it called gastric juice. Get in to the gastric juice, and you'll get shrunk. Then he'll use an attack called Slabber, with this little purple goo on the ground. You need to be shrunken before you get in here, otherwise Cerberus will kill you. But if you're shrunken, instead of killing you, he will eat you. This is one of my favorite mechanics of the entire game. When he eats you, you will be in his stomach. Now you need to destroy the stomach wall ads. It used to be the strategy was take A for ads, B for belly, C for Cerberus. Nowadays, it's basically whoever goes into Cerberus' stomach goes into Cerberus' stomach. Generally, you like to have a lot of DPS in here to take out the stomach walls quickly. Don't worry about the unknown ads. They're basically just there to hurt you. But when you take out the stomach walls, you don't have to worry about them anymore. And then you will be able to leave the stomach. Cerberus will take a large quantity of damage and be stunned. At this point, two players need to take the chains and reattach them to Cerberus before he finishes casting Reawakening. I see two chains. It's going to happen? Yes. Okay. So he's fettered again. Now at this point, like the first boss, you kind of want to stay on his flank because you don't want to be on his tail because he has a tail attack that's pretty nasty. But you really don't want to be in front of him either. So here, it's going to be just same old dodge attacks. If enough DPS is being put on Cerberus. Oh, Hound out of hell. Get out of the way. And that's why. enough DPS is being put onto Cerberus, you probably are not going to have to worry about a second belly phase. But early on, when the fight was new, it was pretty customary to have 2 belly phases, and usually by the end of the second belly phase, you won. The second belly was basically enough to kill him. Alright, there's really one more attack I'm worried about. Well, not really worried about, but definitely want to explain to you. Oh, he's gonna break his chains again. Alright, again, just don't be in front of him when he casts Hound out of Hell. It's a charge attack that hurts pretty bad. Alright. I'm sure he's going to use it. There it is. Ululation! When it's going to hit everybody and give everybody a condition called abandonment. When that happens, you want to stack up with other people. And that will prevent it from doing further nasty stuff. I don't even remember what it does. All I remember is you want to be out of... you want to be stacking up with somebody else when you have the abandonment condition. Alright, there's the gastric juice and the slabber. So we could do another belly phase at this point, but he's only at 1%. So there's really no reason to do a belly phase at this point. Wait, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so like the previous 24-player dungeons, you go straight from the 3rd boss to the 4th boss. And this group is way too eager, and there's no way I'm going to be able to watch this cutscene, so I'm skipping it. In fact, they're probably going to trigger before I even get there. The good news is, now, if you do get locked out, you can... There's a way to jump in, but... still, it's nice for people to wait. Alright, so if you get marked like that guy right there, you start running around the outside of the arena. If you're not marked, don't be in his path. That's because you don't want to get hit by those beams. Alright, when the Cloud of Darkness jumps, she'll appear somewhere else in the arena. Don't be in the direct line of sight across the center of the arena, or you'll get hit by that. So really, your ideal position is off to her side, like pretty much everybody is right now. Okay, Faint Particle Beam, that player is marked. That player now needs to run around the outside of the arena to avoid getting hit by that beam, and to avoid getting anybody else hit by that beam. Alright, when those circles appear, well, at least one player needs to be standing in every one of them to keep the meteors from hurting the entire party. You've seen this mechanic before in other fights. Another Faint Particle Beam. We're doing a lot of damage to her. Okay, when this happens, a bunch of dark clouds are going to appear. You need to kill these clouds before they reach the Cloud of Darkness. These clouds will power up her ultimate attack. Now, if you happen to be standing in or right inside of one of those ads, it's actually going to slow them down. So if you're a melee DPS, you totally want to be standing right up in the face of these ads. Also, while this is happening, the meteors will be coming down, so be on the lookout to stand in any meteors that come down as well. You're going to be dealing with both of these things at the same time. Okay, they got that. Oh, he congratulated me, probably for completing the dungeon, maybe? Or, I don't know. Anyway, he's nice. Okay, so when this happens, get to your marker. Hopefully people placed markers and placed them correctly. You need to kill these 3 hypercharged cloud ads. If they do not all die, it's a wipe. Well, you may be able to survive one of them, but you really want to kill all 3 of them. And after a few seconds, the area where the hypercharged cloud is will lock out, which is why you want to make sure that each one gets its own alliance, so that you're not stuck with having one ad that has like 1 or 2 players in it, because they may not be able to kill at any time. As you can see, there's a lot more of the meteors now. She's just going to repeat every other attack she's used up to this point. It's just going to be a little more intense. She didn't even get to it. Okay, yes, she did get to a second Dark Cloud phase, but we're not going to worry about it because she's going to die. Now, there are actually some mechanics in this fight. There are actually some mechanics in this fight that you will never see again, because the damage is pushed so much that she never gets the chance to use them. There's a little ad phase where she basically puts up these little snakes that inflict status effects that are pretty nasty. It has been literally years since I have seen that mechanic, because you just push her so hard that she never... I'm giving Joe the... I'm gonna cast... I'm gonna definitely roll on that. I may need these later. Definitely want that. Alright, see if I get the loot, but I'm not gonna have you worry about that. So, that's all of the 24-player dungeons in the 2.x series. When we get through the Heavensward content, we'll be playing some level 60 24-player dungeons, which are also very fun. Alright, so still several dungeons to go. 3 dungeons, 3 trials. And so until then, have a wonderful day.